The film Breach, 2007, showcases a gripping real-life narrative centered on Robert, an FBI agent embroiled in treachery, exposing one of the most notable security infiltrations in U.S. history. The story centers around Eric O'Neill, a young aspirational FBI employee tasked with clandestinely observing Robert while wrestling with ethical dilemmas and psychological tensions arising from the assignment. Eric O'Neill's assignment. The movie begins with a report on the FBI's success in tackling a significant national security breach, transitioning into Eric O'Neill's journey. Eager to become a full agent, O'Neill is assigned as Robert's assistant. Initially informed that Robert is under scrutiny for sexual deviancy, O'Neill's real mission is concealed. He is ordered to closely monitor Robert, a senior agent returning to lead a cybersecurity division. O'Neill is cautioned about Robert's intelligence and paranoia, necessitating a facade as his new clerical assistant. Encounters with Robert reveal an abrasive nature. He's demanding and belittles O'Neill's skills, insisting on loyalty and discretion. Yet as time passes, Robert surprisingly takes O'Neill under his wing, mentor-style, sharing insights into FBI operations and reflections on morality and religion. His strong Christian beliefs and conservative views lead to discussions on what he perceives as societal decay, revealing layers of his personality. Gradually, O'Neill earns Robert's trust as Robert invites him to family events and church, seemingly revealing a warmer side. He gifts O'Neill a book on Catholicism, aiming to deepen his faith. This mentorship presents a complex dynamic, creating a moral gray area for O'Neill as he attempts to balance loyalty to the Bureau with a genuine bond developing between them. O'Neill's growing doubts. Initially, O'Neill's doubts about the investigation stem from his impression of Robert as a patriotic, albeit unusual, individual. However, the deeper he delves into surveillance, the more abnormal behaviors he witnesses. Robert shows signs of isolation, takes unexplained long drives, and has an unsettling curiosity about FBI security protocols. Compiling reports reveals an unsettling lack of convincing evidence against Robert, prompting O'Neill to approach his superior, Special Agent Kate Burrows, for clarity. The shocking truth emerges: Robert is suspected of acting as a Russian spy, not merely engaged in personal misconduct. Allegations detail that Robert has allegedly betrayed national security for over 2 decades, leaking sensitive information which has had dire consequences, including the deaths of American operatives in Russia. This revelation profoundly impacts O'Neill, reshaping his perception of Robert from a misguided mentor to a serious national threat. O'Neill is now aware of the danger Robert poses, not just to national security but to his own safety and conscience. Concurrently, he senses Robert's increasing wariness towards him, placing O'Neill in a precarious position where he must maintain his cover and continue the investigation without tipping off Robert about the FBI's suspicions. The evolution of their relationship from mentorship to betrayal intensifies the psychological tension in the narrative. O'Neill grapples with feelings of loyalty towards an individual he has come to respect, set against the heartbreaking realization that this person is jeopardizing national security. The moral conflicts O'Neill faces between personal loyalty and professional duty heighten as he navigates his complex role as both observer and friend. Conclusion. Ultimately, Breach paints a compelling portrait of betrayal, trust, and the human cost of espionage. Capturing the essence of the age-old clash between personal relationships and professional integrity, the film weaves a narrative that immerses the audience in a psychological exploration of its characters, particularly Eric O'Neill's internal struggle as he uncovers the unsettling reality of his mentor Robert. The intense atmosphere derived from the espionage backdrop invites viewers to reflect on themes of trust, integrity, and the nature of loyalty, making it a gripping watch. The cat-and-mouse game. Robert's paranoia spirals as he increasingly questions O'Neill's loyalty. He probes into O'Neill's faith and commitment to the Bureau, going so far as to follow him in an attempt to detect any surveillance. Things reach a breaking point when Robert accuses O'Neill of rifling through his briefcase, a claim that O'Neill vehemently refutes. The tension that builds between the two is palpable, with each moment laden with mistrust. Meanwhile, the FBI intensifies its operation to gather tangible evidence against Robert. They devise a plan to search his car and office, aiming to uncover physical proof of his espionage activities. O'Neill is tasked with keeping Robert occupied for several hours to facilitate this search. However, Robert's perceptiveness disrupts their plans. He abruptly concludes an important meeting, returning to his office sooner than expected, forcing the FBI agents to scramble and cover their activities just in the nick of time. This situation places immense pressure on O'Neill. Back at home, his wife Juliana grows frustrated with his increasingly secretive behavior, jeopardizing their marriage. Their relationship reaches a low point when Juliana discovers O'Neill watching surveillance footage of Robert's private life. This revelation exacerbates O'Neill's internal conflict. He loathes Robert for his betrayal but feels entrapped in a morally ambiguous position as he infiltrates a life marked by deception. Robert's suspicion and meltdown. As Robert's paranoia escalates further, he becomes convinced that he is under constant surveillance. An unusual series of radio signal bursts in his car convinces him that someone is monitoring his every move. Consumed by this belief, Robert's mental state deteriorates, leading him to O'Neill's apartment in a drunken fury one night, causing distress for both O'Neill and Juliana. The next day, Robert devises a more sinister test for O'Neill's loyalty. He takes him to a desolate park where he insists on a demonstration of gun usage, asserting that an FBI agent's worth is tied to their proficiency with firearms. Under pressure, O'Neill reluctantly complies, shooting at a tree while Robert questions him intensely about his allegiance. The confrontation escalates dramatically when Robert, caught up in his paranoia, points his gun at O'Neill, demanding assurances of his trust. In a moment of sheer terror, O'Neill manages to persuade Robert that he remains loyal, though he knows this facade cannot last forever. O'Neill comes to a distressing realization: Robert's instability poses a significant threat. With the tension reaching a breaking point, the FBI is compelled to act quickly to either apprehend Robert before he vanishes or destroys evidence crucial to their case. The arrest. The FBI uncovers Robert's plans for one final act, transmitting classified information to his Russian handlers before he disappears. Acting swiftly, they prepare to catch him red-handed during this clandestine drop. On the appointed day, Robert drives to a secluded park where he leaves a bag with classified documents beneath a bridge. However, before he can make his escape, a team of FBI agents descends upon him, weapons drawn. The realization of being cornered hits Robert, instantly prompting him to raise his hands in surrender. In a moment tinged with bitterness, he states guns won't be necessary. With his capture, the FBI successfully concludes one of the most consequential espionage cases in American history, signaling a significant victory in their persistent battle against treachery. Aftermath and conclusion. After Robert's arrest, O'Neill is offered a permanent position within the FBI. However, the harrowing experiences of the case have left him questioning his career path. The emotional toll of stress, deception, and ethical dilemmas weighs heavily on him, leading O'Neill to opt for resignation. He chooses to leave behind the bureau, seeking a more stable and honest life alongside Juliana, distancing himself from the chaos of espionage and betrayal that dominated his recent past. Before departing, O'Neill makes one final visit to Burroughs, recognizing his contributions and expressing gratitude for his assistance in apprehending Robert. As she prepares to leave, she wishes Burroughs well, acknowledging that he has made a wise choice in his decision-making. The film closes with the sobering facts surrounding Robert's conviction, revealing that in 2002 he was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole for his grave offenses. His acts of betrayal are noted as among the most significant breaches in U.S. intelligence history. Themes and analysis. Breach delves into intense psychological intrigue, weaving themes of trust, betrayal, and ethical uncertainties throughout its narrative. Diverging from the archetypal spy thrillers laden with dramatic stunts and action sequences, Breach presents a cerebral struggle between O'Neill and Robert. Moral dilemmas and the cost of secrecy. O'Neill's narrative arc embodies a deep moral conflict. Initially, he holds admiration for the FBI and harbors aspirations for advancement within the Bureau. However, as the story progresses, he becomes acutely aware that a career in intelligence demands significant personal sacrifices. O'Neill's internal battles reflect the pervasive ethical challenges faced by operatives tasked with navigating the tightrope between duty and their own sense of morality. Paranoia and isolation. Robert emerges as a character plagued by intense paranoia, fundamentally distrustful of everyone around him. His obsessive attention to security protocols and incessant skepticism ultimately lead to his downfall. The film poignantly captures the profound loneliness and disconnection that arise from leading a duplicitous life, emphasizing the emotional costs associated with such a facade. Faith and hypocrisy. A striking contrast exists between Robert's devout Catholicism and his actual conduct. He engages in daily prayers, offers moral lectures to O'Neill, and presents himself as a pious individual. However, the stark discrepancy between his professed beliefs and his actions, betraying his country while displaying morally dubious behavior, brings forth themes of hypocrisy and self-deceit, illuminating the complexities of human integrity. Psychological warfare. The interaction between O'Neill and Robert is characterized not by physical confrontations but by a deep-rooted psychological battle. Robert frequently probes O'Neill's vulnerabilities, seeking to assert his dominance. Simultaneously, O'Neill must navigate these challenges with cunning, striving not to reveal his intentions while attempting to outmaneuver Robert's schemes. Robert's paranoia and mentorship. As days unfold, O'Neill becomes increasingly attuned to Robert's peculiar conduct. Robert adamantly resists allowing the FBI's IT department to manage his technology, opting to oversee everything personally. He articulates a profound distrust in the FBI's leadership, perceiving them as politically driven and inept. His obsession with Catholicism intensifies as he encourages O'Neill to regularly attend church and engage in prayers, including the Rosary. Despite exhibiting signs of distrust, Robert surprisingly begins to mentor O'Neill, offering him insights on navigating the complexities of office politics and how to prosper within the Bureau. O'Neill's doubts. In his attempts to scrutinize Robert's conduct, O'Neill compiles extensive reports detailing Robert's activities. However, he struggles to find anything overtly suspicious aside from Robert's idiosyncratic behavior. As uncertainty looms, he seeks clarity from Burroughs, questioning whether there is indeed a substantial case against Robert. The office search mission. In a strategic move, Burroughs enlists O'Neill to ensure Robert remains outside the office for a designated period, enabling the team to execute a covert search. O'Neill orchestrates a portrait session to honor Robert's 25 years of service, successfully persuading Robert to participate, albeit reluctantly. As the session progresses, Robert's irritation mounts, adding a layer of tension to the unfolding plot. As Breach unveils the psychological intricacies of trust and betrayal within the realm of espionage, it leaves a haunting imprint of its themes, encapsulating the profound sacrifices and moral compromises faced by those operating undercover in the tangled web of national security. If you enjoy watching this video, then subscribe to Angel Recaps for the latest movies explanation.